What if a single shelf in your house could become a business? What if a backyard could generate thousands of dollars a year? And what if a small piece of land could eventually replace a full-time income? Most people assume you need a huge farm to make money growing plants. But that's simply not true. Some of the most profitable crops on earth can be grown in surprisingly small spaces. Today we're counting down 10 high-value plants that can scale from a spare shelf, all the way to a serious farming enterprise. We'll start with crops you can grow indoors, then move into backyard market garden favorites. And by the end, we'll be looking at specialty crops that can be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars per pound. And the further we go, the bigger the opportunity becomes. Part 1, the shelf. Let's start at the smallest possible scale. No acreage, no tractor, no greenhouse, just a shelf. Number 1, microgreens. Imagine planting a crop today and harvesting it next week. That's exactly why microgreens have become one of the most profitable crops per square foot in the world. These tiny seedlings are harvested shortly after germination and are prized by chefs for their flavor, appearance, and nutritional density. The real advantage is speed. Many varieties can be harvested within 7 to 14 days. That means a single growing tray can generate income multiple times every month. Unlike traditional vegetables that may occupy a bed for months, microgreens keep the same space working continuously. And because they can be grown vertically under LED lights, even a spare room or basement can become productive. For beginners, sunflower, pea shoots, and radish are excellent places to start. Simple, fast, and highly marketable. But if you think that's impressive, our next crop barely needs light at all. Number 2, specialty mushrooms. What if you could grow a premium food crop in a closet? Specialty mushrooms make that possible. Oyster mushrooms, shiitake, lion's mane. These gourmet varieties command premium prices because they're difficult to transport and often far fresher when sourced locally. Unlike most crops, mushrooms don't need sunshine. Instead, they thrive in cool, humid environments. That means vertical production is possible even in garages, basements, and spare rooms. For small-scale growers, this can dramatically increase production within a very small footprint. Many successful growers begin with ready-to-fruit, mushroom blocks, before learning how to produce their own. The learning curve is steeper than microgreens, but so are the potential rewards. And unlike our next crop, mushrooms can't simply be harvested again and again from the same plant. Number 3, culinary herbs. Fresh herbs might be the most overlooked business opportunity in gardening, because most people already grow them. Basil, mint, parsley, coriander. These aren't unusual crops. But demand for them never seems to disappear. Restaurants need them, caterers need them, home cooks want them. And freshness matters. A bunch of basil harvested that morning is worth far more than one that spent days traveling through a supply chain. Many herbs are also cut and come again crops. Instead of harvesting once and starting over, you can continue harvesting from the same plant for weeks or even months. And unlike microgreens or mushrooms, herbs offer multiple ways to sell. Fresh bunches, potted plants, herb subscriptions, pesto, dried herbs, multiple products from the same crop. But what happens when you move beyond a shelf and start thinking about an entire backyard? That's where things get really interesting. Part 2, the backyard. At this scale, we're no longer talking about shelves and grow lights. We're talking about raised beds, small plots, and crops capable of generating serious income from surprisingly modest spaces. Number 4, edible flowers. Few crops demonstrate the power of niche markets better than edible flowers. Pansies, violas, nasturtiums, borage. To most gardeners, they're beautiful flowers. To chefs and bakers, they're ingredients. Because edible flowers occupy a specialty market, the value per ounce can be surprisingly high. A small container may contain only a handful of blossoms, but those blossoms can transform a dish, cocktail, or dessert. The challenge isn't growing them, it's growing them perfectly. Pristine petals, no damage, no pesticide residues. Success depends on quality, which is why many small growers outperform larger operations. And speaking of crops where quality matters, number 5, specialty greens. The difference between a commodity and a premium product is often presentation. Specialty greens prove it. Arugula, mizuna, tatsoi, custom salad blends. Individually, these crops are valuable. Combined into carefully curated mixes, they become even more desirable. The real advantage is rapid turnover. Beds can be replanted continuously throughout the growing season, generating repeated harvests from the same area. Many successful market gardeners build entire businesses around salad production because the demand is consistent and the growing cycles are short. But our next crop offers something even better. 2 harvests from 1 planting. Number 6, gourmet garlic. What if a crop could pay you twice? That's one of the reasons gourmet garlic has become such a favorite among small-scale growers. Most people think of garlic as a simple pantry staple. But specialty hardneck varieties occupy a very different market. Names like Music, German Extra Hardy, and Spanish Roja are sought after by chefs, food lovers, and gardeners who care about flavor. And unlike supermarket garlic, these varieties can command premium prices when sold directly to consumers. But here's where things get interesting. Before the bulbs are even ready, hardneck garlic produces a flower stalk known as a garlic scape. These curly green shoots are a delicacy in their own right. They have a mild garlic flavor and are prized for pestos, stir-fries, and grilling. That means growers often generate their first income weeks before the main harvest arrives. Then comes the bulbs themselves, and because garlic stores so well, you're not forced to sell everything immediately. You can spread sales over weeks or even months. Some growers take it a step further by producing black garlic. Through a carefully controlled aging process, ordinary garlic is transformed into a sweet, rich ingredient prized by chefs. It's a perfect example of how value-added products can dramatically increase the worth of a crop. But if garlic shows the power of adding value, our next crop takes that idea to an entirely different level. Part 3, the specialty farm. Now we're moving beyond annual vegetables. These are crops that require more patience, more planning, and often more land. But they also offer the potential for significantly larger returns. We're no longer talking about side income. We're talking about building an agricultural business. Number 7, lavender. When most people see a lavender field, they see beauty. Successful growers see multiple businesses growing in the same field. Fresh bouquets, dried flowers, essential oils, soap, lotions, sachets, culinary products, agritourism. Few crops are as versatile as lavender. The flowers themselves have value, but the real opportunity often comes from everything that can be created from them. That's one reason lavender farms have become popular around the world. A single harvest can become dozens of different products. And unlike fresh vegetables, many lavender products store extremely well. That flexibility gives growers more control over how and when they sell. Of course, lavender requires patience. Most fields need several years to reach full production. But once established, the plants can remain productive for many years. Which brings us to another crop riding a very different trend. The booming wellness market. Number 8, elderberry. A decade ago, relatively few people were paying attention to elderberries. Today, that's a very different story. Elderberry syrups, supplements, teas, and wellness products have exploded in popularity. And demand has often outpaced supply. For growers, that's a significant opportunity. Elderberry is a vigorous shrub that can be grown as an orchard crop or incorporated into productive hedgerows. Once established, the plants can produce substantial harvests year after year. Fresh berries have value. Frozen berries have value. But just like lavender, many growers discover that the greatest opportunities lie in value-added products. Elderberry syrup, jams, cordials, specialty wellness products. The crop itself becomes the foundation for an entire product line. And while elderberries are impressive, our next crop has earned a far more dramatic nickname: red gold. Number 9, saffron. Saffron is often described as the world's most expensive spice. And once you understand how it's produced, that reputation makes perfect sense. Every strand of saffron comes from the tiny red stigma of a saffron crocus flower. Each flower produces only a few threads. And every one must be harvested by hand. It takes an astonishing number of flowers to produce even a small quantity of finished saffron. That's exactly why it commands such high prices. For small growers, saffron presents a fascinating opportunity. Unlike many commercial crops, it doesn't require vast acreage. A relatively small planting can produce a surprisingly valuable harvest. The challenge is precision. Timing matters. Harvesting matters. Drying matters. Quality determines everything. This isn't a crop for someone seeking easy money. It's a crop for someone willing to focus intensely on a specialized product. But as remarkable as saffron may be, our final plant plays an entirely different game. A game measured not in weeks or months, but years. Number 10, ginseng. If saffron is a specialty crop, ginseng is an investment. American ginseng has been prized for centuries, particularly in traditional medicine markets. And unlike nearly every crop we've discussed today, its value often increases with age. The most sought-after roots aren't grown quickly. They're grown slowly. Sometimes for 7 years, sometimes for 10 years, sometimes even longer. The highest value roots are often produced using a method known as wild simulated cultivation. Seeds are planted in suitable woodland environments and then allowed to develop with minimal intervention. The goal isn't speed. The goal is producing roots that resemble wild ginseng. And that's where patience can be rewarded. Exceptional roots can command extraordinary prices. But this opportunity comes with important considerations. Regulations vary widely, growing conditions must be right, and returns may take years to materialize. This is not a crop for someone looking for quick cash. It's a crop for someone planting for the future, which makes it a fitting place to end our journey. From a shelf of microgreens to a woodland of ginseng, one thing becomes clear. Making money from plants isn't really about size. It's about strategy. The most successful growers don't necessarily have the most land. They understand their market. They focus on quality. And they choose crops that fit their space, skills, and goals. For some people, that might mean growing microgreens in a spare room. For others, it might mean building a backyard market garden. And for a few, it could mean establishing a specialty crop that takes years to mature. There isn't one path. There are many. The important thing is that every one of them starts the same way, with a single plant, a single customer, and a willingness to begin. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the Herbal Discovery for more ideas on productive plants, profitable growing, and creating gardens that work harder for you. And let me know in the comments. Which of these 10 plants would you be most tempted to grow? Thanks for watching. Now go get your hands dirty.